Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
And of course, Black Lives Matter. So far, it's unclear if his rampage was based on watching left-wing media inspired by BLM or his religion.
We will continue to bring destruction and wrath upon America.
And you can learn more right now at Infowars.com.
Leading a front. Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. It's Wednesday, April 19th, 2017. Here are top stories.
Tonight, war chicken with North Korea continues. As Trump considers his policy with North Korea, they play spoof videos of missiles hitting the United States. And then, China has taken over Hollywood and the movie industry. Some members of Hollywood are talking about why they are getting shunned. Meanwhile, is the swamp being drained or is the swamp growing? Tax reform and Obamacare are still looming issues.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. Americanism, not globalism. Americanism, not globalism.
Also, Bill O'Reilly is out at Fox. Ann Coulter is out at Berkeley. The character assassination of conservative media is real. All that and more tonight on the Infowars Nightly News.
The reason Infowars Life has 5-star ratings on major third-party sites is because I want products I'm going to use for my family. I take this, my family takes this, and then it funds the operation with the most hardcore, truthful information you're going to find anywhere. So what you find in our news is the same thing you find in our products at InfowarsLife.com.
If I ever forget to take them, I have a noticeable difference. I don't feel good. The nascent iodine is one of the ones that was life-changing for me.
Yeah, I actually have just run out of my super female. I had a few bottles at my house, and I've been taking it again, hitting the gym once again. Very exciting, feeling great, looking good. So, and I know my hair is luxurious once again. So obviously the super female is amazing. I love it.
Nascent iodine is essential. Survival Shield X2. If there's one product that I would say is life-changing that I would suggest, it's Nascent iodine Survival Shield X2. It's got a 5-star rating.
It's a win-win. InfowarsLife.com.
National security is the first and foremost issue right now for the Trump administration. Not the economy, as we thought would be at this point, but now national security. And The Hill asks, what's the strategy? This is a question we should all be asking as citizens. What is the strategy? As they point out, the confluence of hotspots around the globe is testing Trump as he gets to the 100-day mark. And they say it's hard to figure out exactly what his strategic view is of all this. What does he think American power, the use of American power is, the proper use? What does he think the limits of American power are? What does he think need to be prioritized? What is he willing to defer? What is he willing to not do? It's hard to think of any issue on which you couldn't make a range of predictions. In other words, we're not really sure. And if we're not sure, foreign governments are not sure. That's not a good deal. Plus, we have to understand, as citizens, we need to be involved in this discussion. We had an election. We thought that we were involved in this, and here we immediately find that we didn't have a voice in this. When you look at this, and many people say the president needs to make this decision, we're talking about a strategy here. We're not talking about a tactic. Understand the difference between these two. When America was attacked at Pearl Harbor, and I know the story behind that, But nevertheless, we had been attacked at Pearl Harbor, and we went to war with Adolf Hitler. We still had Congress meet and do a declaration of war. We still went through the constitutional requirements of doing that. Do we respect the Constitution anymore? Or are we just going to have a dictatorship? Are we just going to elect a dictator every 4 years? You know, when we had D-Day, that was a tactic. They kept it secret. They made their plans, but we'd already come across a strategic plan. We declared war on Nazi Germany and on the Japanese who had attacked us. So we had a strategy that was publicly agreed upon. We had private and secret tactics that we were going to follow to accomplish that strategy. But then as they go on, we look, and it's not really necessarily even the president who's a dictator. They say people are putting their faith in Defense Secretary James Mattis and National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster to craft smart strategies. Strategies, not tactics, but strategies. And one of those people who really loves this is Lindsey Graham. You know, it's not a complicated world for Lindsey Graham. He is a one-trick pony. When he ran for president, all he talked about was going to war with this group, with that group. And here's what he had to say today on Donald Trump's favorite program, Fox and Friends.
I am like the happiest dude in America right now. We've got a president and a national security team that I've been dreaming of for 8 years. So in 80 days, he's done more to correct the world, President Trump, than Obama did in 8 years. I am all in. Keep it up, Donald. I'm sure you're watching.
You heard him say that? He said, I'm the happiest dude in the world. He came really close to coming out right there. Happy dude. But he's always been out of the closet as a warmonger, as a neocon. He said, we've got a president and a national security team that I've been dreaming of for 8 years. And it's what he was running on. And they point out he unsuccessfully ran against Trump. Remember that? It was just a few months ago. And he ran unsuccessfully against Trump. This is a guy who is so happy, and he got exactly what he wanted. But the American people rejected that resoundingly. He was getting 1 to 2% of the vote, if that much. I don't think he even got that high in the polls. He says, this is music to my ear. The fact that we have the vice president of the United States going to the demilitarized zone, looking across the way and say, we're watching you. Okay. He says, keep it up, Donald. I'm watching. And he does that on the program. They made sure that they put him on the program that we know that Donald Trump watches. That was a clear message to Donald Trump. Are you sending a message to Donald Trump? This is not what you voted for. So you need to, if you're concerned about this, as I am, and I'm going to talk about what's really behind this North Korean buildup here. If you're concerned about the multiple policies pushing us for war, distracting us from America's problems, getting us entangled as the policemen of America, if you're concerned about that, you need to put pressure on Donald Trump. Instead of just giving him carte blanche and say, I know he's going to work it out. I'm going to just trust him to do the right thing. These people are putting a lot of pressure on Donald Trump, and they're going to get exactly what they want. The Lindsey Grahams are going to get all the wars that they want if you remain silent and don't speak up. You have Goldman Sachs, you've got Jared Kushner pushing on him very hard, and the warmongers, the banks, are going to get precisely what they want. And of course, the North Korean government is happy to have a war as well. They're pushing this as well. We look at this video that we have here. North Korean doing a mock-up birthday video showing missiles blowing up the United States because, you know, they can't really get these missiles off the ground. So they can do a fantasy video where they do that. Why do they hate us so much? Well, we've been the policemen of the world. And as I said, we declared war for the last time when we fought the Nazis, when we fought Pearl Harbor. And we took the time to do that declaration of war. But of course, North Korea was the first police state action that we did, wasn't it? We went into the Korean War. That set a precedent because after World War II, our country's foreign policy has been run by the CIA, and we haven't had a declared war since then. Now, there's an interesting article from The Nation. They had a reporter who went there, and he said what he saw was the people there were more concerned about the upcoming presidential election, and the CIA may be more concerned about that than they are about Kim Jong-un, because it's maybe a progressive who is coming to power who is not friendly to America. They say in South Korea, war hysteria is seen as an American problem. He said, when I arrived at Incheon International Airport near Seoul on April the 2nd to start a 2-month stay in South Korea, I was immediately struck by the sharp contrast between America and this bustling country of 50 million. First was the airport itself. Incheon is one of the best designed, most efficient airports in the world. It's years ahead of the dilapidated structures that U.S. air travelers are forced to endure. Think about that. We have dilapidated airports. We have dilapidated highways that are collapsing, bridges that are collapsing because we spend all of our money on these nice new shiny bombs and airplanes. That's what we're doing with our money. That's what the bankers want us to do with our money. But they're not doing that. South Korea, like our European allies, have us to be the suckers to defend them everywhere. And, of course, we're the ones then that the bombs get trained on by the monsters that we go abroad seeking to destroy. He says, for the most part, the U.S. media has been split between lurid speculation about what such a war might look like and the gleeful guesswork about whether Trump will send a SEAL Team 6 in to assassinate him or whether we will do it with big bombs, okay? So we talk about the size and the statistics of our planes and our bombs, but we never really think about what's going to happen with all of this. We're going to talk about what this means for China as well, because China's got a big problem with this, a much bigger problem than we do, quite frankly. The sensational U.S. coverage, he goes on to say, and North's statements convinced many Americans that war was imminent. He said, my 93-year-old grandfather in California, who had worked as a missionary in Korea for many years, was deeply frightened by the reports. Last week, I received emails and Facebook messages from family, friends, urging me to come home as soon as I could. My response was always, no worries. Ordinary South Koreans are not concerned at all. But the people who are concerned, I think, are the people who are pushing our neocon foreign policy. He says South Korea will choose its next president on May the 9th. The two leading candidates, the liberal Moon Jae-in and the more centrist candidate, will have wide leads over the likely conservative candidate. The U.S. has closely been following the election with trepidation. As he reported earlier, he said before Park was deposed, U.S. military officials and analysts have expressed alarm that a leftist opposition could win this year. And Moon has staked out a position that's very different from Donald Trump's. He's called for direct dialogue and negotiations with North Korea and reopening of economic cooperation with the North. These ideas are very attractive, he says, to Koreans who are tired of the years-long dispute between Pyongyang and Washington. We in South Korea, he said, can do this on our own initiative, and we should let them. They're closest to the problem. They have a vested interest in this, as they're going to be closest to the war. Let the people who are close to the situation work this out, or at least let them defend themselves if war is necessary. The Australian news, news.com.au, says, how the hell has North Korea managed to build a massive military stockpile? From the outside, it looks like an impoverished state that's cut off from the rest of the world, but during the weekend procession, you saw that big party that they had there, and they had all the troops going by, all the missiles going by. Of course, one of them had a bit nose on it. Don't know if that was even a real missile or not. The isolated regime has managed to put on an impressive display to warn America. But here's the bottom line, folks. Where do they get their money? Well, North Korea is a mountainous country that has a lot of mineral wealth. And that says a great deal as to why we are interested. It has a lot of coal, gold, silver, uranium, iron ore, and rare earth metals. So China buys everything that North Korea is prepared to offer, especially its rare earth metals. These, as I said, are used in mobile phones, computers, LCD screens. They say another way that North Korea earns its money is by exporting its workers, sending them to China, Russia, the Middle East, Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia. In fact, they said there's no visa requirements between North Korea and Malaysia. And until earlier this year, they had tens of thousands of North Koreans. They were deported after the assassination of Kim Jong-un's brother. The interesting thing is that the lion's share of the workers' wages go to the North Korean government. They still view them as their slaves. And then, of course, they get a lot of foreign investment that comes into the country. But the key thing here is that if China ceases economic cooperation with them, then Russia will do the same thing. So they play Russia and China off. They both want the materials, the mineral resources that they have in North Korea. So North Korea has played the two of them off. That's where they get their money. But I just talked about the workers that go abroad. That's a key thing. There is a big immigration issue with both Russia and China of people from North Korea. As a matter of fact, going back to 2014, Russia and North Korea were drafting an agreement to deport illegal immigrants, and they were also working with China in the same way. And they said this is a big issue. They said this is, they're working on these illegal immigrants, and if they're there illegally for 30 days, they're going to deport them. And in this situation, they're very concerned because the people who are being sent back to North Korea that are there illegally, that have overstayed, are viewed by the North Korean government as defectors. Many of them are imprisoned, detained, abused, tortured. So that was a humanitarian issue. But China has been targeting illegal immigration at their border for many years. They have even put up, guess what, a wall. Yes, China has a wall to keep out illegal immigrants in China. They're very concerned about this. Why? Because there's so many people coming in, they believe that it will cause instability. Exactly what we have been saying about our open borders, isn't it? There's only a limited number of people that you can bring in at any given time without it causing economic instability as well as cultural instability. So they're building a big wall along their border, a security border. They don't call it a wall, with North Korea. And they're even giving out a financial reward if you turn people in and it leads to them being deported. So that is how China is dealing with it. And while they're saying that they're concerned about nuclear threats, the real issue that National Review points out may be an engineered migrant invasion from North Korea into China. Remember what happened with the Mariel boat lift? We had Castro send 125,000 Cubans into the U.S. in 1980. Many of those, thousands of those, were inmates where he emptied his prison. And the movie Scarface was based on that. The criminals who came into South Florida set up all of these drug operations and other operations. And they're saying that the same thing has already happened once before from North Korea to China. China is very concerned about that. And so they point out, National Review says, China just announced these trade sanctions. Oh, that's great, except you're going to be disappointed about this in the near future. Not only do they need these resources of coal, iron, gold, titanium, and rare earth minerals, but they're also worried about the leverage, and that is millions of refugees screaming northward across the border, either pulled in by the collapse of the regime if there's war, or pushed out by North Korea as a form of retribution. They say the use of coercive engineered migrations by corrupt governments as a safety valve is something that's been done a long time. And there's been a lot of studies done on it. One study, the Nautilus Institute, said North Korea engineered an exodus in 1998 into China. They said it was likely a safety valve operation to alleviate problems of population hunger and hardship. It had a disproportionate number of refugees that they labeled as hostile classes. In other words, criminal classes. China is very worried about this. A 2007 study by the Bank of Korea said that a total collapse of the North Korean regime could trigger an exodus of as many as 3 million people out of a population of 23 million. They could cross over the North Korean border. Some of them might try to make it into South Korea, but it is heavily mined. They say it would flood the already challenged labor market in China. And here's the interesting thing, folks. They said China is now taking a tack similar to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates in regard to today's Syrian refugees. In other words, these Middle Eastern countries don't want to be flooded with refugees, so what do? They establish relief funds and camps that are outside of their borders rather than in their borders, preferably in the United States. So you can expect that if this were to happen, if we were to go to war with them, that we would have a massive migration of refugees from South Korea into the United States. But that's already happening. A year ago, they were pointing out in the Atlantic that although Donald Trump is talking about Mexican and Central American immigration, it's Asians who are now outpacing Mexicans in terms of undocumented growth, or as we would say, foreign citizens criminally trespassing in the United States. They say at 6 million, the Mexicans still represent the majority of the 11 million unauthorized immigrants, illegal aliens in the country, but the percentage of those arriving since the recession has slowed. During that time, however, the number of Asian immigrants has grown by 202%. And it's not just the people at the bottom. It's not just the refugees. Understand how China is using us, and they're using us in this conflict. They're the ones who are playing 4D chess. They're the ones who have the most to lose. They're the ones who are manipulating us, and they're going to continue to manipulate us through our culture, through our movies. They're going to dominate the news narrative. They're going to dominate the culture and the movies. This story from the Wall Street Journal yesterday. The U.S. movie industry has become reliant on China's investors, more than 1 billion potential moviegoers, and a relationship that has strings attached. That's where this is all going. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Letter, but let me tell you, they work for me.
Yeah, they work for me too. We were talking about this earlier. Du and I play basketball, and I'm just now, like for the first time in my life, I'm 27 now. After I play basketball, my knees are barking. But the bone broth and the joint formula, like you just said, you combine those two. I felt the difference immediately. I felt it immediately.
Yeah, and it actually tastes good. Like, I'm really picky, and I will drink it. It tastes good to me. I love chocolate, so I really like the flavor of the caveman. So, I mean, if the bone broth, if the bone broth is really that gross, I mean, I would never have known because it tastes really good. And my favorite is the Super Female Vitality. So, ladies, get yourself some Super Female Vitality if you haven't already, because it just gets me going. I mean, I'll take a whole bunch of that stuff before I go out
Maybe
and do
get
my...
it for your wife then, too, or girlfriend.
Right? I go and take a bunch of it before I go do Man on the Street, and I just start running, zipping around, running right into the action. No fear, nothing, so...
Well, that's a big primary part about, Find the Globalists is making sure that we stay healthy and stay clear-eyed and stay honest and stay humble. I hope that we do that here at Infowars. We got a lot going on, and we're in the middle of the fight, so we really appreciate it when anybody supports us, either by purchasing our products, or you can even go onto our store and donate. We're doing this by the skin of our teeth. I know it looks like we're in a $1 billion studio, but Alex has never taken 1 cent of borrowed money at all whatsoever. This is all money that's come from you, the listeners. So you have literally built this place, built this place with your compassion, and built this place with the support that you've sent us. So from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it, because I know we wouldn't be able to do this, and we wouldn't have a voice if it wasn't for you. So once again, we got to thank the listeners for their steadfastness in supporting us. And even when we make mistakes, and even when we're not right, and even when we might go a little bit crazy, you guys stick with us, and I appreciate that.
Today, arguments were heard in the Supreme Court over a case that many people have said is a case about recycled tires versus religious freedom. No, really what it is a tired, old religious persecution of Christianity, and this time taken to the Supreme Court. But it looks like it's not going to work. Even the liberal judges are seeing through this particular case. The case is Trinity Lutheran Church versus Comer. And this is a situation that was an initiative that was launched in Missouri in 2012. They wanted to encourage schools to use recycled tires to produce safer playground surfaces. In other words, they chop up these tires, then you put them out on the playground as a rubber bed so the kids are falling off of the play sets. They're not going to injure themselves. A great thing. Except if you're a Christian school, you can't have it. They're not using the recycled rubber tires to indoctrinate people in a state religion. And what we're seeing here is the First Amendment being reinterpreted as always, instead of freedom of religion, freedom from religion. These children who could benefit from this safety are being discriminated against on the basis of their parents' religious views, or the fact that attached to this playground, the playground has no religious instruction involved in that, is a Christian school. So we have to shut that down. They say Trinity Lutheran Church was denied a state grant to participate in the program. We had, as the questioning was done today, we had liberal justices, Elena Kagan and Stephen Breyer, joined by the conservative justices in questioning the state about what line should be drawn when the church said it planned to use the grant money not for religious activities, but to protect children on the playground. This is a case that has implications for more than 30 states, because the religious persecution has gotten so bad in the last 50, 60 years since we discovered a letter that was sent by Thomas Jefferson to some Baptists in Danbury, Connecticut, telling them, don't worry, there is a wall protecting you from me, from the federal government. And it's not, and now that has been turned into a wall around the churches. And that's not, quite frankly, that's not in the Constitution. Interestingly enough, when we look at the separation of church and state, I think it's a very good idea. I'm not arguing that they should be together. But you have to understand that the Constitution, and here's where your dates from history sometimes come in handy. I know we all hate to memorize dates, but they do provide a context for what's going on. And I think they illustrate what the founders understood about establishment. We had most of the states that comprise the original 13 colonies were set up to favor and to establish one particular Christian denomination. Now, the Constitution was ratified in 1789. The Bill of Rights came in 2 years later in 1791. However, there were still established churches in Connecticut until 1818 and in Massachusetts until 1834. So for 27 years later and for 43 years later, they still had situations where when you were talking about establishment, they would require you to either give money to the state church. In this case, in both of these states, it was the Congregational Church. So they would require you to give money to the Congregational Church. Sometimes it would require you to attend that church as well. Sometimes it might be one or the other or both. That was establishment. That's what all these 13 states who had established Christian denominations, they all wanted to make sure that wasn't going to happen at the state level. Of course, Virginia had already said, we don't want to do that. We want to keep Christianity out of the political realm, and we want to do that as well. We don't want to have Christianity. We don't want to have one denomination dominating our laws. We don't want to have Sharia law either. That's one of the major objections I have with the Islamification of the United States. We do not want to mix religion with politics. It destroys both of them. But it looks like they didn't even need to have Gorsuch here. They're talking that it looks like it might be 7-2 based on the question that we saw today, the questioning from the judges. It might be 7-2 in favor of the church, because this is clearly an example of religious persecution. I want to take a look at the real opposition to Donald Trump. You know, yesterday we had the election. The Democrat, they poured $8.3 million into his election. And after the fact, as the Republicans saw how much money was being focused on there, they had Hollywood going there, of course, but they had people who were outside of Georgia traveling there to work as volunteers. They were focusing everything there, trying to get a win for the Democrats, and they failed. They were hoping that they could get him past the 50% mark in a district that, although highly Republican, had the Republicans divided amongst, I think it was 11 different candidates or something like that for the Republicans. He didn't make it. And so that is something that really sets them back. But you have to understand the Democrats are really a broken party. They're really a broken party. They haven't found their voice. The people who are going to block the Trump agenda are the people in the House and the Congress and the administrative state, the bureaucracy, and the advisors that have been put around Donald Trump, some of whom he's selected, some who've been pushed upon him by Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Those people inside the White House, those people at the House and in Congress who are Republicans, nominally Republicans, they're the ones who are going to block his agenda more than the Democrats. They have more than enough people who are nominal Republicans that if they wanted to sign on to the agenda that the Republican voters have repeatedly said they want in terms of protecting the borders, repealing Obamacare, giving us tax reform, staying out of foreign wars, if they wanted to do that, they could do it. But the Republican establishment is going to fight back on it. A good example of this is Jerome Corsi's article today at Infowars.com. The GOP senator gets rich by blocking Obamacare repeals. And he's talked a couple of times about Tennessee Republican Senator Bob Corker. And he points out he's an avowed enemy of the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac shareholders who are seeking to end the Obama administration's net worth sweep. This is a guy who's built a personal fortune of approximately $50 million since being elected to the Senate in 2006. And understand what's going on with the net worth sweep. I'll tell it to you again. What they're doing was after the 2008 mortgage meltdown, they took money out of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and that was supposed to be repaid to the investors, but they're stealing that money that should be going to the stockholders of those corporations, and they're using it to fund Obamacare because Obamacare is bankrupt. It's bankrupting the people who need health care. It is bankrupting the insurance companies, and it's not working for anyone. They have to take money out of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. A good example that Jerome Corsi has, and it's a very, very well documented, detailed article. He talks about how his net worth has danced around from 2006 and 2014. He did 83 amendments to his financial statements. Nobody really knew how much money this guy had. He's dancing around all this. Open Secrets is trying to get a handle on his net worth, and it ranges even from them from $45 million to $76.9 million. But he is one of the wealthiest members in the House. And one of the issues that he has in here, he talks about a typical pattern of insider trading. And he talks about Corker's trades in a company called CBL. He said he purchased between $2 and $10 million of stock in that company just prior to a July 2010 announcement that a Swiss-headquartered UBS bank was upgrading that corporation's rating from sell to neutral. Less than a month later, Corker unloaded between $3 and $12 million of his stock just days before that same bank returned them to a sell. In the meantime, their price had leapt more than 35% per share. So it made him a ton of money. Where have we seen this before? Well, we saw it with Nancy Pelosi. They created the Stock Act because so many congressmen were doing insider trading, and they said, well, it's not illegal, maybe unethical, but it's not illegal, and we're not even prosecuting anybody in the House Ethics Committee for insider trading. This kind of stuff that he did, but especially what Donald Trump's appointment, Spencer Bacchus, his appointment that he wants to put into the Export-Import Bank, did far more than that. This was a guy who had the secret meeting. They said, put your cell phones aside. We don't want this to get out, September 18th, 2008. And then they told them that the entire stock market might lose half of its value. The very next day, he shorted the market, $50,000, made a fortune. This is the guy that Donald Trump wants to revive the Export-Import Bank. This is something that was shut down in 2015 because of the corruption, because of what they do. They had 2 spots that needed to be filled. The Senate refused to fill them. The Senate needs to refuse to put Spencer Bacchus in. They need to refuse to continue the Export-Import Bank. It's something that Donald Trump ran against. It's something that he reversed himself on. Let me give you an example of how they take American taxpayer money and fund foreign state-owned corporations like Pemex. It's Mexico's state-owned oil company. It has nearly 40% of the government's annual revenue comes from Pemex. The Export-Import Bank of the United States supported that company, that Mexican government-owned company, with $8.5 billion in loans backed by American taxpayers. Another example, the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, one of the richest cities and states in the world. They were given loans to buy American planes. That gives them a competitive advantage over domestic airlines like Delta or American because they give them this to buy Boeing stock. That's crony capitalism. That needs to be stopped. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Why is the fungus? Why is the mold? Why is the yeast taking over? What is going on? What has changed? Dr. Group, the new product, will sell out definitely in days. You've been testing it for almost a decade. You've got rave reviews from your patients who've been taking it privately at your clinics. Myco ZX supports normal fungal and yeast balance, proprietary blend of herbs and enzymes made with high-quality ingredients. It's available at InfoWarsStore.com. We also have free shipping, orders $50 or more, and 10% off when you sign up for auto ship. Additionally, on top of that, and then you fund an organization dedicated to the truth and get something you and your family absolutely need. But you should consult your healthcare provider. This is not a game. This is not a joke. Especially if you have really big yeast levels or fungus in your body. There can be some responses to this as you're flushing it. But why is this product so powerful? What does it do?
So we've been doing research just like you have on what's currently going on. Obviously, we stay ahead of the game because our job is to protect and address the root cause of the problem, which is why I've been...
Now, we want stuff for our own kids.
This is why we've addressed the president, let's address the root cause of America's health problems. But getting back to fungus, it's becoming an increasing epidemic that's only getting worse.
Killing bats everywhere, other animals, squirrels are dying.
Funguses were used as bioweapons.
So why is it suddenly killing so many mammals?
Yeah, fungus is a growing epidemic, and I've been testing this formula and making changes to this formula for over 10 years. I've had nobody... Here's the thing, Alex. When you go to the doctor with a list of symptoms, you can look at symptoms of fungus overgrowth in the body. It's going to show, you're going to pull up over 100 symptoms, everything from brain fog, lack of energy, insomnia, headaches, bowel problems.
Joint pain.
It's joint pain. It's linked to Crohn's disease.
Infertility. What about the obesity epidemic? I know they test people that are really obese and like they're just colonized by fungus.
Yeast overgrowth. I have a study right here by Jacob Titelbaum at the Fibromyalgia and Fatigue Center in Dallas. Yeast overgrowth is linked to an average weight gain of 32.5 pounds. What doctor...
By the way, folks, look, I'm not bragging. We game-changed the presidency. We game-changed the New World Order. Globalism is falling because of you. You are the Infowar. Listen, this is religious for me, okay? I do not bring you something unless I absolutely believe in it. And if we were reigned with $1 billion, I would turn 99% of it against the enemy. I want to defeat them. I'm ready to give my life. Everybody knows that, against the enemy. Please, we only have a limited supply of this. I want to get your reviews. I want to hear what you have to say. For me, it's been incredible. Myco ZX, antifungal, antifungus, anti-yeast. Get it today. Limited run. It'll be months till we get more. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com. Myco ZX goes great with the bomb defense. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. And you can't support an organization that didn't fight harder. Look at the response we're getting. We're changing the world together. You are the Infowar. God bless you all. Let's go go to Debit in Florida. Debit in Florida, you're on the air.
Great. Hey, thank you so much. Listen, I have bought your product, and I gotta say they're amazing. Anyone who's on the fence, buy it, because I've got Caveman, Superman Vitality, Secret 12, Vitamin Mineral Fusion. I've got the body armor.
Wow, thank you.
Wow.
You're the type of listener that makes it all possible. Which nutraceutical does you like best?
I really like the Vitamin Mineral Fusion, to be honest. That's
amazing.
Really incredible. I drank it in the morning, and I swear to you, I felt incredible. Like I haven't felt weak. My morning was fantastic, and I love you guys. I love the Infowars crew, and I just want to I want to take this opportunity to tell anybody out there who's on the fence, just buy it. You will love it. I'm telling you, I've never bought a bad product.
What you find in our news is the same thing you find in our products at InfoWarsLife.com. It's a win-win. InfoWarsLife.com.
Bill O'Reilly was fired from Fox today, and Twitter trolls were quick to go out there and bring on the hate. Now, these claims are coming out that Bill O'Reilly had engaged in some kind of sexual harassment with some other female reporters at Fox News. However, Bill O'Reilly himself has denied these allegations, and he's actually said that he has been subject to a brutal campaign of character assassination from the far-left organizations, and that he has irrefutable evidence to prove it. At the same time, we've seen character assassinations against all kinds of people that have been helping President Trump get elected before he was even the president. We're also seeing character assassinations out on Alex Jones. Can you believe it? I mean, the establishment would just love to take out Alex Jones. That would be their absolute dream. And so we have people on Twitter, these Twitter trolls, out there trolling it, laughing, saying, ah, ha, ha, you know, we got rid of Tommy Loren, who was fired from The Blaze. Now, you know, Representative Jason Chavetz, who's saying he won't run for re-election. Mike Flynn, as we know, he was pressured to resign. Now Alex Jones is undergoing character assassinations. And Bill O'Reilly was fired from Fox, even though he's the network's highest rated program for the past 68 consecutive quarters. So they don't even care about money. They just want him gone. They want the people that have been supporting President Trump gone. And they have a little ticking time next to Donald Trump's name up there, like he is going to be next. He's next on their list. And that's exactly what it is, folks. They want to essentially put the cart before the horse. They're getting rid of the influential people, the voices out there that actually supported President Trump during the campaign season, so that when they make moves toward impeaching him, they can be assured and rest assured that these people won't be around to defend him. Now, in other news, Ann Coulter, who is actually a very outspoken conservative, she has been canceled from speaking at UC Berkeley over fears of violent protests. And this just goes to show that these anti-fascist terrorists are being successful at, you know, censoring free speech, because that's their goal. If they can successfully throw a big hissy fit with violence and riots and people getting injured, then they can try and justify preventing the, you know, conservative people out there like Ann Coulter, like Milo Yiannopoulos, from coming and trying to actually speak to university students. And I didn't even mention Milo Yiannopoulos. He was left out of this particular Twitter list, but he has been attacked too. We've seen him undergo a huge character assassination. So all I have to say is this, guys, there's a reason why the establishment is attacking these people. There's a reason why the establishment is attacking Alex Jones and Infowars. It's because we're actually speaking the truth. We are real, despite their claims. And these claims come from the fake news out there, who has been caught dozens of times peddling fake news and false information. You know, so it just goes to show, hey, we are under attack. We are the real deal. So we need your guys' support more than ever right now. We need people out there remembering what brought us all together. We want to make America great again. And if that means that, you know, we got to actually go out there and have more people popping up out of the woodworks and speaking as people are being taken out of the game, that's what needs to happen. But yeah, we will keep you guys updated as these events transpire and, you know, just kind of try and fill you in as much as we can. So this has been pretty rough, guys, but just know the establishment is attacking us for a reason. This is Millie Weaver signing off for the Infowars Nightly News.
Political outrage turns bloody in Berkeley. Our KPIX5 crews were right in the middle of the chaos as both Trump supporters and anti-Trump activists come to blows.
Protesters followed Trump supporters to their cars as they left the convention center. Around the corner and away from police protection on San Carlos Street, a mob mentality took over.
We're saying if you're out there and you're trying to represent your First Amendment right to free speech, if somebody comes and attacks you, it's your right to defend yourself.
I'm not gonna sit here and take it anymore.
ABC News writes, Zuckerberg envisions the marriage of augmented reality and Facebook's camera feature, enabling people to make even mundane chores like doing the dishes look entertaining with digital effects. Of course, it could also result in people staring into their smartphones even more intently as they marvel at an alternate reality instead of their actual surroundings. Where's the outrage? Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg claims he will augment our reality, but he already has.
Officers say they're dealing with so-called Facebook harassment more often.
Without that kind of information, we don't know that it's going on, and it may lead to something much larger than what it appears.
Fresno police arrested 39-year-old Corey Ali Muhammad for gunning down 3 men in a block-and-a-half square area Tuesday in what they describe as random acts of violence.
Y'all racists grab the white devils.
Postings on his Facebook page contain racially charged images and videos.
Stevens' graphic video remained on his Facebook page for more than 2 hours, viewed by more than 1,000 people before his account was disabled.
Our hearts go out to the family and friends of Robert Godwin Sr., and we will keep doing all we can to prevent tragedies like this from happening.
In a document filed in court, FBI agents in Alabama say Cannon used a Facebook account to post more than 600 pictures of child pornography, as well as multiple videos.
The FBI is investigating how a child pornography video ended up on Facebook. A link to the video is being shared on the social networking site's news feed, and it's been viewed by many in the state, including many kids.
Inside courtroom 7 at the Cook County Juvenile Center, the 15-year-old suspect, who's a school athlete, stood quietly before a judge to hear the charges he's facing. 4 counts of aggravated criminal sexual assault, 3 counts of manufacturing child pornography, and 3 counts of dissemination of child pornography, all in connection with the sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl, which was streamed live on Facebook.
Monday morning, early in the morning, I get messages on my phone like, is this your daughter? You know, is this a picture of your daughter? And my heart just dropped because instantly I knew that was her. It was so disgusting, so disturbing to watch. I couldn't even look at it.
Facebook's foothold in censorship-happy China is as anti-free speech a venture as you can find.
China is one of the few markets where Facebook is unavailable right now because of government censors that advocate online content publishers should promote core socialist values. Zuckerberg was in Beijing for the China Development Forum. The state-sponsored conference brings together top business executives and the country's ruling elite.
Yet Zuckerberg and all of his Silicon Valley social media tycoon goons are unconstitutionally protected because of their too-big-to-fail status. Pamela Geller, reporting for WorldNet Daily, recently spotlighted the heavy hand exempting social media from their heinous actions. Geller wrote, "We are challenging Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which provides immunity from lawsuits to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, thereby permitting these social media giants to engage in government-sanctioned censorship and discriminatory business practices free from legal challenge." The media twists the unfolding of this magnified reality check into a dulled knife, driven point-blank into the back of these United States, tied into the corporatized talking points of the mainstream media, who in a recent study focused 89% of their efforts against our commander-in-chief. belief.
Facebook is thinking a little more pragmatically. I think Mark Zuckerberg, his belief is if you can get at least some version of Facebook, even if it's a handicapped version of Facebook, into the country, that's better than no Facebook at all.
And while Facebook tramples on the First Amendment, they offer comfort to our enemies seeking to destroy us. Back in 2014, the Washington Times reported users of Facebook have reported this week that the website is refusing to take down a known ISIS terror group fan page called Shia-ib-e-Mutta, a derogatory term for Shia marriages. The fan page has nearly 6,000 members and adoringly quotes Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, founder of al-Qaeda in Iraq, who was killed by U.S. forces in 2006. Facebook subscribers, and I'm one of them. Isn't it time we ask ourselves, are we truly aware in good conscience of what we have signed on to? John Bound for Infowars.com.
Alex Jones here with a very important news update to anybody out there that wants to be prepared. But it goes beyond being prepared. Our bodies absolutely must have the good halogen iodine or we will die. And you look at all of the thyroid problems and all the people that don't have energy and that have all sorts of hormone problems. And from my research, and a lot of just mainline research, it leads back to iodine over and over and over again. It's as important as vitamin C. If you don't get iodine, you die. But most people are just deficient, so they're low energy, they're sick. You got to have iodine in your body so that your body can produce the hormones you need. It is the base to so many things. And since I got into iodine 4 years ago, we've helped change the entire paradigm by developing and bringing to the public deep earth crystals from 7,000 to 12,000 feet of the purest iodine available. Other iodine comes from the ocean or from other byproducts of chemical facilities, and it's tainted. It's bound. It's not absorbable. I tried it. And I had incredible effects even with dirty iodine because the body needs it. When you don't have iodine, it absorbs the chlorine, the fluoride, and all these other bad halogens. Do yourself and your family a favor and check out the importance of iodine for yourself. I think you're going to be blown away. And whatever you do, support the broadcast and get a bottle of Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2. Also consult your physician because if you've been deficient in it or have other issues, it can have some dramatic effects. As for me and most folks I talk to, it's been a game changer in the positive column, but still consult your physician because iodine is no joke. It's a key building block of the body. And if you haven't had it for a long time and suddenly have it, some folks say they've experienced things like a detoxing effect and things like that. You've got to have vitamin C. You've got to have iodine to live. You've got to have water to live. Iodine is key. You must have it, but consult your physician first before you get powerful Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2 at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free. We can answer your questions, 888-253-3139.
Alex Jones has been fighting tyranny, government corruption, and the lying mainstream media since the mid-1990s. He is a syndicated radio talk show host who has pioneered streaming video over the web, and his websites and YouTube channels have unbelievable reach. Recently, MSM Talking Heads went crazy with the report that Alex Jones is a performance artist and actor, and thus everything he has ever reported on must be considered fake news.
His lawyer is arguing that Alex Jones is playing a character and is a performance artist.
And there is some truth to the first part of this statement. He was an actor in two groundbreaking Richard Linklater animated films. The first was Waking Life. The scene with Alex driving through the town with a car-mounted bullhorn, warning people to wake up, is considered by many to be a highlight of the film.
I don't know about you, but I'm concerned with what's happening in this world. I'm concerned with the structure. I'm concerned with the systems of control. Those that control my life and those that seek to control it even more.
The second, based on the Philip K. Dick dystopia novel A Scanner Darkly, once again depicts Alex with a bullhorn warning people of the dangers of a new drug being pushed by the government, who is then tased and thrown into a car by some global love cops.
It's time to realize that we're being enslaved. Uh-oh, it's our tax dollars at work. Protect us from ourselves. Hey guys, I used to be one of you. Stop selling out your own speech.
He also played an evil senator in the independent film warning of EMP dangers, Amerigeddon.
That man's a threat to this country.
All three of these are listed in his IMDb account as acting credits, but he also has 17 credits for documentary films he produced, ranging in subjects from the police state using paid rioters at the WTC in 1999 to 9/11, the OKC bombing, Obama, NSA spying, and how to secure your home. These documentaries have all been offered free online and have proven legendary in their reach and how they predicted and forewarned of events that are finally getting mainstream attention. But let's take a look at videos that Alex produced where he did assume a role and indeed become a performance artist. These are the top 10 Alex Jones performances. Number 10, A Scientist Who Can Fly. Even though this was an ad for the Infowars Life product, Supermale Vitality, it illustrates how Alex Jones can channel the character of a scientist on the verge of an amazing breakthrough, while at the same time he educates people on the current attacks that are happening to their glands and hormonal systems from the use of everyday products. By the end of this 2.5-minute video produced in 2014, Alex becomes so consumed with his inner power, he gains the ability to fly.
Up, and away!
Number 9, Russian agent. The mainstream media and outgoing Obama administration were blown away by the presidential election of 2016 when Donald Trump took power from the loathsome Hillary Clinton, who cheated on the debates and even had the supposed impartial DNC attack and steal the nomination from Bernie Sanders. This was spun that anyone and everyone who was pro-Trump had to be a Russian agent. Donning this role, Alex became a mind control victim of the Russians, who was being led by an actual Russian on staff, Daria, who was trying to get him to repeat Trump policies. This theater of the absurd tactic was used to show how ridiculous the Russian agent attack was, but it later came out in an Armed Services Committee hearing that Infowars was viewed as an echo chamber for Russian media outlets, proving that if you aren't for war with Russia, then you must be a Russian agent. Number 8, Alex Jones admits he's Bill Hicks. Internet sleuths have been hounding Alex Jones for years, saying he was Bill Hicks. And while he does slightly resemble the groundbreaking comic, and both were friends of filmmaker Kevin Booth, the age and height are immediate signs that this is totally false. In early 2015, Alex had had enough and decided to admit to the world that he played the character Bill Hicks, but was actually a famed English actor, David Mendelsohn III, master orator, who was indeed playing two characters, Bill Hicks and Alex Jones, for the last 30 years, and that now he was ready to retire.
I am David Mendelsohn. To be quite clear, David Mendelsohn III.
Alex Jones has donned the English accent several times, most notably in the legendary Piers Morgan interview.
I can speak in this accent as well.
Yeah.
The
But is that what you
government
believe?
Hitler firebombed his own Reichstag, Pierce.
But it was the subtle accuracy of the accent that earned this performance number 8 in our top 10. Number 7, Alex Jones becomes a trans dog. Jumping on the trans movement, which is basically an excuse for people to act weird and have that behavior legitimized, Alex Jones declared that he was transzoological and had black socks sewn to his ears to become a dog. This video is short, barely a minute long, but the message that you must accept any and all behaviors from people or you are a racist bigot is a powerful message, even through all the dog barking.
You're a homophobe, you're an anti-zoological phobe, you're a piece of filth. So now, I become my new self.
Number 6, Cobra Commander. As the 2012 election season kicked into high gear, Alex Jones decided to interview Cobra Commander, who had recently announced his run for the White House. In the video, Cobra Commander for President, Alex Jones interviews himself playing the terrorist leader who has the CIA, Bin Laden, and North Korea all on his payroll. Mr. Cobra lays out his platform on why he would be the best leader for the United States of America. What is most amazing on this performance is the voice of Cobra Commander, which sounds outstandingly like the cartoon character who was previously voiced by the late Chris Latta.
I am Supreme Cobra Commander. You call your petty bureaucrats, officials, and authorities. You will kneel before Cobra or face my wrath.
Number 5, Alex becomes a TSA tattletale.
Don't trust the public. Only trust Janet, Big Sis Napolitano, and Homeland Security.
In the intro for the documentary New World Order, Blueprint for Mad Men, Alex Jones plays a busybody who wants to become an elite Homeland Security tattletale for the FBI and DHS head Janet Dungbeetle Napolitano.
You got responsibilities now.
The only problem is he works at a coffee shop, but that doesn't deter the TSA wannabe from spying on customers and freak out on them when they try to pay with cash.
Oh, no, it's true. He's looking at Infowars.
It's this performance that earns number 5 on our list.
And that's what America's about. Total schizophrenic paranoia.
Number 4, Alex Jones as a lizard. In October 2013, it became increasingly clear that Obamacare was indeed a scam job meant to jack up insurance rates that would lead to horrible health care. Alex Jones produced the video. Alex Jones reveals Obamacare's secret origins. He dons the mask of Star Trek character Gorn, complete with a top hat, to explain how alien this legislation is and how it was nothing but lies.
Because we're insurance companies who wrote it? Let me pick my teeth here.
Number 3, John Corzine breaks into Infowars headquarters. As the MF Global scandal broke in late 2011, Alex Jones donned a grandfatherly beard and innocent top hat and once again interviewed himself.
Gary Gensler was your main minion at Goldman Sachs, and he headed up the CFTC. He's been missing now for a month.
In the interview, John the Don Corzine admitted he had stolen the money from the private accounts, but there was nothing that anyone could do about it. The sound bites that Corzine drops in this video are legendary, and it's why it's number 3 on our top 10 countdown.
Was there something else you wanted to sit on Santa's knee and ask for, Mr. Jones?
Number 2, the devil. In the video, secret DHS training video leaked. Alex Jones plays the role of an elite on Earth who is communicating with the devil, whom he also plays.
Soon, our armies will be released, and nothing on the planet Earth can stop our forces.
The depths of evil depicted in this video freaked out many listeners who called and emailed their concern. But Alex felt that this video truly depicted the demonic forces that have been guiding the eugenics-obsessed elites since the beginning of time. His voice is also super freaky, and it's the lines he channeled into this performance that earned a number 2 spot in our top 10 of Alex Jones performances.
Oh, beautiful death, might we pull down the mountains and poison the streams? Might 1 trillion children be aborted?
And finally, number 1, Alex Jones as the Joker. In August 2009, a picture depicting Barack Obama as the Joker started making the rounds online, but was quickly attacked as racist by the mainstream media. Quick to capitalize on this meme, Alex Jones donned creepy Joker makeup and completed his August 7th broadcast as the Joker himself, and announced a Joker poster contest where the winner would receive $1,000. This contest was a huge success, and posters of the president in Joker makeup appeared across America. People made videos of their postering, and it proved to be a big hit online and in the real world. It was Alex's creepiest role to date, and many listeners thought he had truly lost it. But it was an amazing promotion for a contest that went nationwide. It's this role as the Joker that earned the number 1 spot on this video of top 10 performances.
Because we've got the documents and we've got the proof of the criminal activities they've been carrying out.
Now, there are many performances made by Alex Jones as he hijacked memes and helped spread the message of liberty and freedom across the world, and all would not fit on this list. So in the comments below, add what your favorite performance or character that Alex Jones has assumed. Thanks for watching, and here's a brief message from Alex responding to the recent MSM attacks.
First off, they love to brand us as fake news, or the media loves to attack me and say he dresses up in lizard suits like Gwar, or whatever the name of the guy is from the Star Trek episode, the famous one where he's fighting Captain Kirk. And then the news asks me, are you serious? And I say, that's satire. I'm being an actor, acting like I'm a space alien that wants to exterminate the population of the Earth, trying to sell you on taking vaccines. I don't actually believe that the Star Trek character's real. Then they go, oh my gosh, Alex Jones is fake. He says he's an actor. Look, he was in Scanner Darkly and he was in Waking Life.
That's it for tonight's news. Thank you for joining us. Join us again tomorrow night at 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for the Infowars Nightly News.
I am very proud to announce the introduction of the highest quality Infowars Biome Defense Probiotic. We wanted to come out with the largest spectrum of high quality known probiotics that have been proven to improve overall digestion and health and detoxification in the body. Biome Defense is an exclusive blend of 50 billion live and active cultures from over 23 different probiotic strains that are known to support digestion and intestinal function. Our researchers are confident that we have been able to develop what will be the leading probiotic on the market. Secure your Biome Defense in ultra strength or regular strength at InfoWarsLife.com today and get started supporting your digestive system naturally. We've been testing this formula for years, but this is the limited first run to the public, so please take advantage of it today. Support your own health and support the InfoWar.
Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. It's Wednesday, April 19th, 2017. Here are top stories.
Tonight, war chicken with North Korea continues. As Trump considers his policy with North Korea, They play spoof videos of missiles hitting the United States. And then, China has taken over Hollywood and the movie industry. Some members of Hollywood are talking about why they are getting shunned. Meanwhile, is the swamp being drained or is the swamp growing? Tax reform and Obamacare are still looming issues.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. Americanism, not globalism. Americanism, not globalism.
Also, Bill O'Reilly is out at Fox, Ann Coulter is out at Berkeley. The character assassination of conservative media is real. All that and more tonight on the Infowars Nightly News.
The reason Infowars Life has 5-star ratings on major third-party sites is because I want products I'm going to use for my family. I take this, my family takes this, and then it funds the operation with the most hardcore, truthful information you're going to find anywhere. So what you find in our news is the same thing you find in our products at InfowarsLife.com.
If I ever forget to take them, like I have a noticeable difference. I don't feel good. The nascent iodine is one of the ones that was life-changing for me.
Yeah, I actually have just run out of my super female. I had a few bottles at my house, and I've been taking it again, hitting the gym once again. Very exciting, feeling great, looking good. So, and I know my hair is luxurious once again. So obviously the super female is amazing. I love it.
Nascent iodine is essential. Survival Shield X2. If there's one product that I would say is life-changing that I would suggest, it's Nascent iodine Survival Shield X2. It's got a 5-star rating.
It's a win-win. InfowarsLife.com.
National security is the first and foremost issue right now for the Trump administration. Not the economy, as we thought would be at this point, but now national security. And The Hill asks, what's the strategy? This is a question we should all be asking as citizens. What is the strategy? As they point out, the confluence of hotspots around the globe is testing Trump as he gets to the 100-day mark. And they say it's hard to figure out exactly what his strategic view is of all this. What does he think American power, the use of American power is?